Hello and welcome to Houghton Mackay. This week we are in a live discussion with our guest, somebody who was featured in one of our recent articles on the magazine. Hope you've all had time to read it. And the name is Constantine Zeus, a very, very good artist from Greece who is starting to make waves in the artistic world. And he has a good and growing presence over in America, the UK, and Europe. Welcome to Constantine. Nice to have you on the show.
Good to be on it. Thank you.
So, this week we're going to have a discussion about the various aspects that you have come across on your journey as an artist. General discussion. The first question is quite a deep one. What is the trigger for your actual inspiration? And do you know where they come from?
Uh, the, the sources of inspirations I get are could be anything really. Um, and my work tends to be autobiographical in the sense of like I do a lot of versions of myself,
Okay.
self portraits, stylized, highly stylized, I would say. So they're all like altered every time, and often they appear as a different character or
They do.
something like that. And
I've seen your work, and they're very dynamic. There's quite a wide range of characters in there. And looking through the website, it's very difficult for anybody who is wanting to buy a piece to decide which one because they're all
right,
equally
yeah,
good.
that's a
They
good
have their own
problem to have.
personality. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, so anything could trigger inspiration as long as I'm um, in the process of making of working. The inspiration will come, but it could be uh, even during sometimes within the process of making a piece. Usually, I just come to the studio every day and I start working on something without necessarily having a plan beforehand. The idea is to just do it all the time. I enjoy
mm,
the process, the physical stuff. I enjoy putting paint on canvas, let's just say.
yes.
So I start with that without thinking too much, and then as I go, inspiration within the inspiration, so to speak, might come along from something that I hear, in a piece of music, or someone mentioned something and it's still in my head. And this can spark a whole other, you know, series of things. And,
It's good.
then the piece takes its own form eventually. So anything at any given point could be an inspiration for me.
That's the addiction. I think it's like there's a second person within us leading. Um,
Yeah.
and you mentioned at the beginning there was you said you don't plan your work, and I'm not an artist, but I've been involved with human expression in various ways, particularly as you know through writing, and I think very often, especially in arts, I'm guessing, or even music, if you're composing, it's better not to
Mm.
plan because that can become restrictive, and maybe disappointing if you think that something has to happen a certain way and look a certain way. The result is the same as you thought, or is it led by the process itself? In other words, it forms as it goes along.
Yeah, yeah. I think you said it well actually when you say you don't get disappointed because you didn't have any expectations in the first place
Mm,
to begin with. So
mm,
you're just happy with the results. I think it's more fun this way.
yeah,
The majority of the time, it's just like that. I don't really plan it. I might have the extent of planning would be like, okay, I'll spend, let's say, Monday priming canvases so they're ready within the week.
mm,
So I do organize myself a bit and everything in here. Sometimes I might have done a sketch, a little doodle somewhere, a little doodle, excuse me, somewhere that I know this could be something. So this is the extent of planning that I do. So I know that in some cases, I would know that I have this image that I want to do. So it's just about going ahead and doing it without being too attached to the outcome.
It's what can we call that? I mean, it's not similar to the entrepreneurs that you have in the world, but I would consider good art to be almost inspirational entrepreneurialism, if we can say that word. For example, what am I saying? The best and most successful people in the world often didn't plan what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
They simply remained very open to opportunities and spotted them.
yeah.
And it's the same in good filmmaking or art or literature, isn't it? It's you see
At
some,
least my approach is like that. Yeah.
yeah, very
I can't speak for
addictive.
everyone, obviously, but definitely I allow things to happen, and it's sort of like go with the flow, as they say. So
There we go.
you see what start forming up, and then you're like, "Oh, right, might be something cool," and you just go with it, you know. But you must be willing to like dig down a mine, find nothing, and then come back out and then start digging another one, and you should be okay with that.
That's a really good analogy, because
Yeah,
everybody who's doing these things has to know that you can't produce all the time, and
yeah.
those empty days are kind of part of the journey, I guess.
Yeah, it's more about like accepting what happened, you know, like I don't know that at that moment, at that time, that's what I did, and this is what I could do to the rest of my abilities. The day after, things might be better, might be worse, but it's all okay, you know. It's just like enjoying the moment more than anything. And as you mentioned before, great art. To me, great. I have this quote. It's in my book, and I explain in my book on how I got to that point. Great art is freedom of the soul.
Mm,
And by soul, I mean, as Aristotle spoke, the mind. By allowing and expressing freely and sincerely, that's when you get something great. That's when how greatness comes.
yeah,
It's my strong belief. In art or in anything really, but in the context of art, we're speaking right now. So
it
that'll be it.
it almost sounds similar to what Bruce Lee said with his mode of expression. And again, you've raised a really good point. Art, martial arts, it's all the similar thing, isn't it? Human expression from the soul,
Mhm.
from the self. Um,
That's
do
right.
you get or have you had, or even do you have a conduit where you obtain feedback from your clients or customers? And if it's okay saying, what kind of feedback have you had, and how does it lead you in your future work?
I do get feedback, yes. Typically, it's good feedback, but I'm assuming only because the people that actually find it good would care to give some kind of feedback. I'm not saying that everyone likes it, but whenever I do get it, it's quite good. The best I would say is the best type of feedback that I've gotten quite a few times, which made me feel really nice, was when I had people telling me that. I remember there was a mom who was telling me that her daughter saw my work and it inspired her and started doing it and
Oh, good.
trying to doing similar things. So
Mm.
that was when I really felt like, all right, this is offering people something. So that's the kind of feedback I care more the most about. And similarly, I was teaching a school on how to print make.
Mm.
And the teacher eventually told me that one of the kids said that this was the highlight of the year. So
Great.
that type of feedback is like uh, priceless, really. All the rest is okay. If people like it, good. If they don't, good. I'm doing it for me, really. I like it. I'm enjoying it, as I said. So
I can see
some
your
people out there will
enthusiasm.
like it.
Absolute.
Yeah,
And of course, if
yeah.
a child says something without being prompted, you know it's a fact.
Exactly, yeah. So that's when you know it's most likely true, and it was a bit more than they just liked what they saw. It was they were inspired to do so themselves, like you moved them and motivated them. That's something different. That's
And
quite
that's the additional value.
exciting.
That's the additional
I
value.
think so.
I think that the viewers and readers will agree with this. It's like a
Yeah,
bridge between the artist and the audience. If you
I think so. Yeah,
inspire other people to do the same, then there's the additional value,
that's an
or
honor.
one part. Absolute honor. Yeah. Um, so you said before that your current audience is becoming centered around the USA. Is that
Mhm.
so? How's that come about, and how is it developing? Do you find that there's a shift from one global area to another, or are different areas growing for you now?
Do I find do I notice a shift happening? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, no, not necessarily. I don't notice the shift happening. It's for some reason uh, the audience that I've had, the that I'm interacting with, and the good collectors and everything. The majority, not all of them, the majority tend to be from the US.
Okay.
I'm not so sure why that would be. Maybe the my work is a bit colorful, so
Mm.
it might be more appealing over that side of the planet. As far as I'm aware, New York could be a little bit, darker, moodier work. Uh, the West
Okay.
could be a little bit more bright, bold, colorful, stuff like that. London is also good, but again, the majority of my clientele would be across the pond.
It's interesting to see how that develops. Um,
Yeah.
so your ultimate goal, is it commercial? Is it recognition based, or something else?
Well, being commercially successful is always a good thing because you get to do what you want, uh, and that's it. So fame does play a role, comes along with that.
Mm.
No matter what you do, if you're famous for what it is you're doing, it means that people come to you to get that kind of service or product that you provide. Even if you're a butcher in town, if everyone knows how good your product is, they'll come to you, right? So this is some kind of thing. Um, so they kind of go hand in hand, and obviously it's desirable and it's going well. I mean, at least locally for sure. I mean, all over Scotland even. Um, my name circulates around quite a bit.
Good.
Um,
Well done.
the goal is to just carry on doing this, you know, ultimately,
No,
and then
and
everything else is good as well.
you are doing brilliant, and it's not just because you're being interviewed, of course. Um, I find your work amazing. It's my kind of style as well.
Appreciate it.
And for those that are looking at the show, have a look in the comments because I've put this week a link to Constantine's site. So straight after or during even, take a look, go through the art and see if there's anything that you like. By all means, I'm pretty sure Constantine, you'll agree. Any feedback and support and follows would be very, very appreciated. What looking through those art pieces, which one would you say is your flagship piece? Um, and what kind of feelings did or does it trigger in you? And finally, what's your relationship with that work?
As in a favorite, you mean?
Yes. Yep.
Uh, I don't really have a favorite. I mean, the one I'm working on each and every time would be my favorite because it gets me really excited to see it complete. So in that moment, it really is my favorite. It's all I'm thinking about. It's all I want to do. I literally just can't wait to see it complete. Um, and that's about it. I'm getting this excitement, this high during making it, and then
Hmm.
it's nice when I see it after. When I look at it, it just reminds me of the time, and it's great. So that's kind of how I look at it. I mean, I don't bother too much with which is a favorite one or not. It's just like, it just reminds you of the time that this was happening.
They're good things, aren't they? Because if you don't have a favourite, it doesn't mean that you don't
Yeah,
like them. It means that you're doing two things, basically, perhaps. Number one, you're not stagnating. And number
right,
two, your focus is changing as well. And you're growing.
right. Yeah,
So they're all good things, maybe.
correct. Yeah,
It gets you thinking. It really does, doesn't it? All of that stuff. Um,
absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
what's your next focus? Have you got anything coming up? I think you've said
I
before
do.
that it's not just art; it's other kind of modes of expression as well, isn't it?
I do actually. As a matter of fact, I do. It's been a rather busy year, I have to say. I was doing shows back to back. This last August, I was part of the Edinburgh Art Festival and Fringe show as well as in an acting role as well. So I was doing
Oh,
that, and it was amazing. And
okay.
the viewing, because that was all recorded, it was a theatrical type of thing. And the viewing happened a couple of weeks ago, so we saw that. It was awesome. And now I'm getting ready for a December art festival
Okay.
here in Edinburgh that I'm organizing actually, and it's going to be me and a handful of other hand-selected artists by me that I've worked with in the past, and I really like their works. So we're going to do a big show, and then the day after it will be a poetry and theater event as well with more poets and musicians and experimental theater and a puppet show and everything. So this is what's happening right
That's
now. So I'm
brilliant.
painting away at the same time to fill up my my bit of the wall.
Repertoire's
I mean,
growing.
I got loads of work to be honest, but I just carried on. I just never really stopped doing that. But there's quite a bit of organization happening at the same time,
What's the
logistics
show?
and all.
What's the show called?
Well, it's called House of Zeus December Festival, Art Festival, excuse me.
House of Zeus.
And
Okay.
yes, December Art Festival. And within that festival, uh, well, the art show will stay on for a month, but the opening obviously is the main day,
Yep.
and then right after is the poetry. Then, like I said, so the art show is called Constantine's Winter Show because I'm getting a few fellow artists on board with me. Like I said, some artists that I worked with before. And then the day after is the poetry event. So the anniversary of Poets of the Night, another poetry and theater event, I guess I'll call it, that I'm co-organizing as well. And yeah, this whole thing is going to be happening. Got loads of people working on it, and it's going to be very exciting.
That's that. I can almost, and I've not seen anything of it yet, but I can see the energy, and imagine the
Oh yeah,
energy and excitement that's growing on that. Um,
oh yeah, it's pretty non-stop now. Yeah,
I'll definitely will do an article at least on this project at some point in the
awesome. Yeah.
future. Um, okay, so brilliant discussion. I'm inquisitive now to go and investigate these things. Is there a link to that on the website or somewhere we can find out
Eh,
more?
not quite a link yet. I'll have one soon. I could pass it on to you a bit later. At the
Okay,
moment, there's only posters and things like that. But I guess this will do, yeah, as well.
okay,
For
yeah.
now,
So to the
digital
viewers,
posters. And,
absolutely. To the viewers, watch out for the links on this festival. It sounds like it's going to grow and probably become an annual thing. Um, I hope it becomes the
yeah.
art world Glastonbury in a sense and grows over
Why
time.
not?
Um,
Why
yeah,
not? Yeah.
there we go. So thank you very much, Constantine. To the audience, excuse my slight lack of attention at the beginning because we did a recording a few weeks ago, and after the recording, found out that there was no sound. So I was just checking
Okay.
the screens at the beginning. There we go. Thank you very much for your support, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and Thank you, Constantine, for your time as well. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and
Likewise.
we'll have you back when you've got your project up and running as well. If anyone
Yeah.
watching or reading the magazine would like to take part as a writer or a guest, or have their art house video or art or anything like that shown on the show, do get in touch. And it's broadcast over on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. And we'll see you soon. The next thing we have is a yoga demonstration tomorrow at 2 p.m. And there's another art discussion on Sunday at 7 p.m. I will check the time on that one. And then we have coming up a historical walk around on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. So stay tuned, and thank you, and we'll see you very soon.